He was the heart and soul while anchoring the Patriots O-line for 10 seasons, admired for his work ethic, character, and leadership abilities. David Andrews was voted captain 8 times and a big part of 2 Super Bowl championships. Now let's find out how all of David's talents work on the water as we reel in number 60 for some striper fishing off the Cape. Playing the offensive line often means working in obscurity, even in the NFL. But center David Andrews broke that mold. First as an undrafted free agent who unexpectedly made the Patriots roster. Then as a longtime captain who helped lead his team back to Super Bowl glory. Throughout his career, David established himself as a top-tier player, but also a great teammate and a man who cares about his community. His football roots trace back to his home in Georgia and include his uncle, legendary head coach Dan Reeves, though early on, David wasn't sure football was his game.
You know, growing up, I played soccer. I was always a bigger kid, and so I didn't really get along with soccer. There was a little too much running for me, and my dad asked me one day if I wanted to play football, and I'll never forget him having to show me how to put my pads on. I was 6 years old, and then I'll never forget the first day I had to play with kids older than me because of my weight. A kid named Alex Stoltz hit me so hard, and I can remember my dad standing over me and just having tears in my eyes. And he was like, "Do you want to be done or you want to keep going?" And I was like, "I want to keep going." And I remember it was a couple years ago in training camp, and training camp's always a hard time, and I actually texted Alex Stoltz. I still had his number. And
wow.
I don't know when's the last time I saw him, and was like, "Hey, I just want to thank you for that hit a long time ago." And I just fell in love with the game. I wanted to do everything I could to be good at it. And I think having my uncle being in the NFL, being around his players, and I loved it. I loved what they did every day. I don't think a lot of 6-year-olds want to play O-line, and I sure did and loved it. And, I think it's just the most important position on the field.
David was able to live out his childhood dream by playing football for the University of Georgia. Despite playing 50 games as a Bulldog and receiving multiple awards, he went undrafted in the NFL, though teams were interested in him as a free agent, including the Patriots.
Falcons called me, I think Cowboys did, and Bill calls me again, kind of raised the price, and so I was like, well, that's, a lot of money.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, and was going back and forth. I kind of wanted to stay in Atlanta with the ties being that home, my uncle coaching there, it just seemed really cool. Georgia, the Falcons, the family connection. It just seemed like what I wanted to do. And my agent finally called me and was like, "You're going to New England. That's it. This is it." And I was so nervous, and I thought maybe I'd go here, lie on my resume that I played there when I didn't even make the team, and hopefully get a good job doing something. I had no idea that we'd be sitting here with you 10 years later, so rest is kind of history.
What were your initial reactions when you walked into that locker room with the likes of the defending Super Bowl champs, by the way, Tom Brady, Gronk, Edelman, when you see those veterans in there and you're walking in, what was your...
It was real eye-opening. At the time our tackles were Nate Solder, who was a great person, but giant human being with no body fat as an O-lineman, ripped up, and I'm standing there looking up at him. He's 6 whatever he was. And then Sebastian Vollmer on the other side, who was just angry. He's a great person, but he was so mad at me. He'd be so mad. He was hard on me, and then Marcus Cannon wasn't as tall as Nate Seabass, but just the biggest human I'd ever seen. So I'm just like, dude, there's no way, and as a rookie, you really just want to be quiet, not cause a distraction, not be seen, try to speak when spoken to. And, it's a different when you're playing center because there's a lot of leadership that goes into that position. You have to communicate, you have to talk. And when you've got Seabass yelling at you in a German accent on one side, Nate doesn't want to be mean, but he needs your help. And, it was a lot. And then I had 2 rookies beside me, and Shaq Mason and Trey Jackson. And so the biggest thing I learned that year was just try to get better every day at one thing. And, if you look at things and try to fix all your problems in one day, it's going to be too much. Like, pick something out. And I've always tried to stress things I learned in my rookie year to the younger guys. I was so lucky to come into that locker room, especially with a lot of those veteran O-linemen, because I learned a lot from them, what it means to be a pro, how to do all this stuff, you know, and I was lucky to come into a really good room and with some really good young guys, like I said, that have, you know, been friends for life.
Up next, David Andrews talks about making the Patriots, becoming a team captain, and the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. Plus, number 60 shares his love for the outdoors as we hit the water for some striper fishing. This episode of Outside the Fame is brought to you by the Corey C Griffin Foundation, changing the trajectory of the lives of youth from under-resourced communities, because every child deserves the opportunity to succeed. Welcome back to Cape Cod. We're talking with former Patriots center David Andrews, who made the team as a long-shot undrafted free agent back in 2015, then found himself the starter in Game 1 versus the Steelers.
I'll never forget, it was like, of course, a lovely September New England day, you know, 60 degrees and raining. And
We love it here.
yeah, and, you know, it was like misting, though. It wasn't really rain. And I just remember standing on the sideline looking out at the field, like, holy crap, it's Pittsburgh Caesars opening week, you know. And Tom comes up, like, behind my ear and was like, hey, babe, let's not roll the ball on the ground tonight. Keep it dry. And I was like, dude, out of all the things you could have said to me right now, that's, you know,
Right
but
before,
it was, honestly, it kind of settled me down. Because then I was just thinking about that and not what the entirety of the moment for me, you know. And obviously we went out there, we had a great game. It was the Thursday night game. That was really cool for me. I'll never forget that.
Well, we're going to move on to the next year, which was a fantastic. It's their second year in
Pretty
the
cool
NFL.
year.
Pretty cool year for David Andrews and the rest of the Patriots. But you won the starting job. The Patriots finished 14-2 and got through the playoffs, and you're on your way to your first ever Super Bowl.
Yeah. It was a lot of chaos. Because for a lot of the guys on the team, it was just like, all right,
Yeah,
old
that's what I'm
hat.
saying.
You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
to do. You know what to expect. I had no idea. Monday, you come in, and they give you a giant folder, and you have a Super Bowl meeting. Here's the ticket options you can buy. Now I'm starting to look, you know, not making that, you know, making good money, but not where I'm willing to spend a lot of money. And I'm looking, and I'm like, well, these are all the people I want to go, and this is what it's about to cost me. Oh, wow, you're about to play in the Super Bowl and lose money.
Let's talk about the game, because really, like, one of the most bizarre, historic Super Bowls in history.
Yeah.
I mean, not only was the comeback, the largest comeback in Super Bowl history, but also went to overtime,
Yeah.
first Super Bowl to go to overtime.
I love talking
Unbelievable.
about the game because I think it's the greatest example of football. In football, you need everybody to contribute. And I think that's a game where everybody contributed. You know, obviously we had to score points. Obviously the offense let the team down early in the game with some turnovers and all these things. And, you know, defense wasn't playing great.
Yeah, that first half was rough.
And, you know, looking at it, it's like, man, we're doing good things. We're hurting ourselves. We're
Right.
beating ourselves. And we always try not to do that. And
So was it Josh, like, during the halftime for you guys to kind of, like, say, okay, like,
you know, there wasn't some miracle, you know, remember the Titans, you know, miracle on ice type speech.
right.
You know, Bill said, you know, 21 points will not be enough to beat us. Also, you'd walk in the locker room and no one felt defeated. Because I think we knew, one, we were confident in ourselves. Two, we knew, like I said, we were moving the ball. We were having success. Josh just told us. He wrote it up on the board. You know, we just had to finish drives. Look, like D linemen, they don't play every snap. And so, like, let's get them tired. Let's keep them on the field, and let's see what happened. And, you know, that's what we were able to do. We pushed the tempo, and we relied a lot on our conditioning. And it was a whirlwind, but I knew at that coin toss when we got the ball, it was over.
it
was
seemed like
not-
it turned into a magical game.
it was not going to be.
Yeah.
Once we got that coin toss, it was over. It was like, we're going to score,
Yeah.
and we're going to win this game. And it's really hard to process it in the moment when it happened, you know. And the two coolest things are always the parade.
To
see the
I
cities.
mean, I'm going to say the February 5th was the Super Bowl game, which started an impressive, more personal timeline for you that year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you
was
paid
a big
attention
year.
to this. What an incredible personal year
Yeah.
for you as well. So we'll start off with February 5th, February 7th, the Duck Boat parade going through the streets of Boston. You've never been through anything like that.
No, I didn't know what the rules were, you know.
You could take your shirt off. That's not a rule.
Well, I got better at the parades as I got older, you know. I started learning there are no rules.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So we get on the bus to go to the parade and was like, did you bring beers? And I was like, we could bring beers? You know, I had no idea what the protocol was. Yeah. So you bet in 18, I was loaded down. You know, I was the bartender on the bus. But
all right, well, the next date, September 5th. Remember that date?
17?
Uh-huh.
September 5th. We got beat by Kansas City week 1, right? Or no?
So September 5th is when you were elected captain. That's a huge honor.
It was a huge honor, and I was not expecting it. You know, I knew we voted every year, obviously, and I was definitely taking on more of a leadership role. Like I said, being a center, you're in control of the offensive line. You know, I got elected, was kind of like very shaken up about it, and I was making a PB&J before practice in the lunchroom, and Bill came up to me and was like, you know, you have to lead now, and you have to take control. And you know, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. You know, I'm about to throw up in my mouth, you know, and you know, I think to me the leadership thing. One, I think you got to be genuine.
I think you've already shown it if you're being an elected captain.
Yeah,
and you probably just be yourself.
Yeah, you just have to be yourself. And I think for me personally, like you said, you mentioned coming into the locker room in 2015. There were so many guys that I just sat there and watched. I watched Matthew Slater. I watched Devin McCourty. I watched Tom. You know, I watched all these guys, the Nates, the Seabass, and watched what they did, how they interacted, how they conducted themselves. I just tried to take whatever nugget I could learn from them and mold it into who I am as a person and how that fits for me. And that was a huge honor for me because the guys voted on it. You know, it wasn't a media thing, a fan thing, whatever you want to say. It was the guys in that locker room, and so that meant a lot to me.
I am here with Rob Griffin, the co-founder of the Corey C Griffin Foundation. Of course, the foundation is named after his son, Corey, who tragically lost his life in 2014 at the age of 27. But more importantly, this foundation was created in inspiration of Corey. And I want you to just talk about just the type of person he was and why you created this in 2014 in his memory.
He was a very engaging young man and had lots of great friends that continue to help the foundation. And he was doing lots of charitable things prior to leaving this world. He was involved with Children's Hospital, raising money for them. He started something called the Boston Winter Ball, and he was involved with lots of charities. When he passed, we put a couple of charities that he was involved in his obituary, and people sent in over $2 million of just unsolicited, and that sort of gave us the courage to get the foundation started.
Talk about the mission of the foundation. It seems to be really involved with a bunch of children.
We're trying to change the trajectory of these children's lives, but it comes in lots of shapes and forms, whether it's healthcare. We're building something, the Corey House, for families that are at Children's Hospital for extended periods of time, don't have the money to be there while their children are getting treatment. Or just we pick programs that are extraordinary in terms of their results. And so that's what we do.
In February 2019, David and the Patriots continued their incredible run with number 60's third Super Bowl appearance and second championship, a victory that was made all the sweeter because of what he and his teammates overcame that season.
The way we got to the Super Bowl that year, you know, they asked me, would you fast forward to go to the Super Bowl and just win it? And I was like, I don't think so, because what makes it so great is not the one game. It's all the things throughout the year and the ups and downs. And that year there was a lot of ups and downs, you know. Started off really good. We started losing with that Miami Miracle game. Go to Pittsburgh, get beat up in Pittsburgh. And I'll never forget, Josh was like, we're going to start running the ball here. And as an O-lineman, you know, you kind of get a little, you know, grin on your face, right? And we knew we had a good team, good running backs. Sony Michel was a Georgia kid, obviously. we were riding him hard. And, we had James Devlin, Dwayne Allen. Rob was such a great blocking tight end, and it was like, let's line up and just run the ball here. And we did that against the Jets to end the year. And then we played the Chargers for that first playoff game, killed them, ran the ball like crazy. And then the game that probably sticks out the most that year is the Kansas City. A lot of people are counting us out. It's kind of the rise of Patrick Mahomes, and never played in Kansas City, heard a lot about it, and it was just kind of us against the world. And for the way that game went, ups, downs, and then obviously, the finish with Rex in the end zone to win the game. I mean, the Super Bowls are great and you can never replace them, but that game is probably one of my favorites I've ever played in. There's no better teacher of the game of life than the game of football. I wouldn't change one thing about my 26 years playing this game, but it's time to say goodbye.
After 10 seasons with the Patriots, 8 as captain, David retired from the NFL in June of 2025. It was an emotional moment, but with the help of his wife Mackenzie, as well as his 2 young sons, Ford and Worth, he is now looking forward to the next chapter of his life. In the coming years will definitely be filled with another one of David's passions, fishing, starting with some classic Cape Cod stripers.
So tell me about your fishing experience.
I started fishing with my granddad.
Yep.
They had like a little hunting camp area with a pond, and I spent more time in the trees than in the water.
That was terrible.
But I don't know, I just loved it. I loved eating the fish. I loved catching them. You know what my granddad always used to tell me?
What did he say?
He said, "You're not holding your mouth right."
Really?
33 years later, I still don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. You didn't ask him?
I tell that to my son now, though.
Oh, Jayme, look alive, look alive!
Come.
Tip up!
Yowza! What do I do?
You go under, you go over.
Okay. Okay, all right, tip up. Oh my God. What about? Oh God. Ah! Look at my fish! Look at it, it's over there! Oh my God, come on! This is like so heavy. Okay. Hi! Oh my God, I'm scared. Yes! Look at my guy! Hi! Hi there. You're beautiful! You're my first fish! Okay, we're not gonna eat you. Okay. That was awesome, dude! Yes! I'm so excited.
I'm proud of you for holding it.
All right, now I am here with the president of the Corey C Griffin Foundation, Chandra Clark. Chandra, welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jayme.
Tell me about the lives that you have touched in the 3 years that you've been there.
So I'm really proud to say that at a minimum we serve 10,000 kids on an annual basis. So definitely we are experiencing monumental growth. Everything from children in pre-K who are entering school for the first time to, we call them our Corey's kids, that are graduating from college and headed into the workforce. And so I would say on a weekly basis, we receive testimonies about how our impact is really transforming lives. And it's the unseen things that we're doing that are really making a difference in the community.
Talk about the impact of the people like David and Mackenzie and people who are involved and what the impact of them participating in some of these events.
Yeah, we are very fortunate for the relationships that we have with athletes that are connected to the foundation. And I'll start with David and Mackenzie. When I think of them, I just think of love. And that is what David and Mackenzie embody. And that is many of the kids that they've been able to touch through their work through our organization.
There you have it. Get involved, people. Oh, God.
No pressure, Jayme. Everyone's just watching you, depending on you.
Wait, he's so far away.
Don't let the boat down, Jayme.
Okay.
We let her have the good side.
David, come and help me. I feel like he's so far away.
This is the most unconventional way I've ever caught a fish, Jayme. Come to this side.
Okay. We gotta come over here. He's gonna be like a shark or something. Oh my God, he's strong. This is strong.
Hopefully it's a good one.
Oh yeah, come to mama. Come to mama. Woo! Oh my God. We caught the big one, right?
He's good. This is a good fish.
This thing weighs a lot.
You ready to let him go?
Nailed it.
That was incredible. Am I considered a veteran now, or yes?
Let's not go crazy here. What did we talk about earlier? Managing
I have some mad
expectations.
skills.
We got to manage expectations.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
All right, you gonna reel?
Let's go.
Oh,
let's
it's
go.
a little
here.
one, Jayme.
It's just a little one. Just
Here,
a
you
baby.
go.
Okay.
Reel.
I don't want to hurt the babies.
Oh,
Oh, he
came off.
Oh God.
That's a good way to end it.
This episode of Outside the Fame is brought to you by the Corey C Griffin Foundation, changing the trajectory of the lives of youth from under-resourced communities, because every child deserves the opportunity to succeed.